Hello, everyone, and welcome out to The Good, the Bad, and the Geeky, a podcast where I sit down with some of my friends in the local Columbus, Ohio theater, film and improv scene, and talk a bunch of geeky stuff. Some of it good, some of it bad, but all of it definitely geeky. If you enjoy our programs, be sure to subscribe to our show on Apple Podcasts and to leave a review, or subscribe and leave a review wherever you can get podcasts. Support for this podcast comes from our lovely backers on Kickstarter, like Christopher LeBlanc, for example. Now, if I do actually know you and I am about ready to say what I'm about ready to say, then please, I apologize profusely. But I don't know Christopher as well, so you know what? I'm just going to say, I'm going to actually modify my story and say, you know what? I do know Chris. We're friends from way back at Wright State. Really cool guy. And Wright State is a college that could be anywhere. It's not definitely only in Ohio. But he's a really cool guy, and he likes all things that are geeky, and that's why he backed us on Kickstarter. So, Christopher, thank you so much, man. We appreciate it. Our official sponsor of the show is Audible. With over 200,000 titles to choose from, get one audiobook and 2 Audible originals each month included with your trial, even once your trial ends and normal membership begins. How rad is that? Best part is you own your library, meaning you keep the books even if you cancel with Audible. Plus, you get easy exchanges. So, don't love a book? Swap it out for free anytime. Sign up for your free trial over at audibletrial.com/goodbadgeeky. Download the Audible app and start enjoying your new audiobook. We're also part of the It's All Been Done Presents Network, a Columbus, Ohio-based multi-platform creative network. Let us entertain you. We're also voted one of Columbus's top picks for 2017 and 2018. And we have tons of podcasts, frameworks, reviews, videos, and more. For more information, go to ibdpresents.com. In this episode, I am here with
Ella Pilardi
and Erik Sternberger.
And we're going to sit down and talk about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood on this episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Geeky. Do you guys have anything you'd like to plug real quick?
I don't. Erik, go ahead.
ErikSternberger.com, as always. Rescued Ohio, as always. And then also August 17th at Franklin County Shelter is Clear the Shelter, where it's going to be incredible deals on dogs and stuff all day long. So I'll probably be there helping out and maybe can get you a dog that day.
Oh, awesome. So be sure to check that out, and we'll have that in the show notes as well. And a word of warning that there will be spoilers aplenty, not just on this, but just about anything we may talk about, so listener beware. And do you have anything to say about Quentin Tarantino? Because we're probably going to talk about a lot of Quentin Tarantino stuff. Or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Join in on the conversation by interacting with us via social media or email. Twitter and Instagram is username GoodBadGeeky, or email me at goodbadgeeky@gmail.com. We may read your comment on the show. All right, enough of my end. Will, roll 'em. So, did you guys see the movie again twice?
Yeah. I didn't get a chance to go the second time.
I did not go the second time.
I didn't either. Okay, I feel a lot better. We're here to talk about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's Quentin Tarantino's 9th, possibly his last film. It's not.
And possibly his 10th.
Possibly, that's true. Possibly his 10th.
If you don't count how he counts.
Which, who does? Well, let the director have his fun. He knows how he made... Well, is he counting Kill Bill once? Is that what it is?
Yeah. Now, the question is, thanks, he is supposedly wants to do the Star Trek movie. He's also talking about maybe a Kill Bill 3. Would that still count as one with Kill Bill 1 and 2?
If he makes sequels to
Right.
everything, he could keep
Right.
making movies forever.
Would that can he keep going and still only do 10 films if he just keeps making sequels to his own stuff?
I would like to see him... I would like to see him suffer through trying to answer that question.
He won't suffer through it.
No,
But he
would.
will talk for 20 minutes.
Okay.
No, him and Kevin Smith are very accurate in that. It's just like, how was your day yesterday? He's like, oh man, let me fucking tell you. I got up, crack of dawn, fucking smoked up a joint. And then it's like literally an hour, like one of his Evening of Kevin Smiths, which are really entertaining, but they only ask 3 questions. That's why
does
the
Quentin
first...
Tarantino have an Evening of Kevin Smith?
Well, sorry. I mentioned Kevin Smith. Touche. No, I wouldn't mind seeing Tarantino do one of those.
You know he has said that there's two shared universes of his films, right?
No.
He has said there's the real universe and the real universe, which is apparently the and how they're all tied together in different ways. One is all his movies are tied together in a cinematic universe, and the other is the real world of the people who see those movies are tied together.
Okay, fan or not fan, can we? And I'm not a fan of Quentin Tarantino. I'm that person on this podcast
it's okay.
who came in here not liking him.
We honestly
but
need that,
can
though.
we all agree that he's kind of narcissistic? He
there's no
adores
kind
himself.
of.
Okay,
we can
I was trying to soften the blow there, but
No, not at all. Like he totally is. I mean, and it's not like Kevin Smith where he's just like, oh, I'm a fat nerd who did good, and I'm also a little narcissistic. No, Quentin Tarantino is totally is, but I don't think he would admit it though right away. You'd have to probably pick at him a bit to.
yeah.
He'd say it, but he'd try to say it in a way that made it cool. Okay,
course, yeah.
I'm a nerd, all right, but being a nerd for me,
all right,
here's where it comes from.
And here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing.
It comes from being cool. Okay,
I watched some clip about the making of the movie, and they're like, he's such fun to work with on a movie set because even after they nail it, especially if it's a harder take, and he knows he has it, he'll go, all right, we're going to do it one more time. Why? And then everyone goes, because we love making movies. And I'm like,
I read that
that's
somewhere.
actually kind of cool that he does that. But then he also apparently, who was it? Oh, Christoph Waltz was talking about, here's how you work with Quentin Tarantino. He's talking to you about something, has nothing to do with what you're trying to ask him for, or he's trying to give you direction on, because here's the thing. And then it cuts to him in like 5 interviews going, yeah, and here's the thing. And I'm just going like, oh dear. like it's like, okay, so that was a great take, Nick. Yeah, but here's the thing. You know, Spielberg years ago, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? What it has to do with my, anyway.
Tangents, yes.
Tangents. Yeah. Well, I would welcome that. I go on tangents all the time. So,
that's true.
Yeah, that is true. All right, we'll start off around, we'll start with you, Ella. Quick hits, what did you think of the movie?
Okay, so as I said, I'm not a Quentin Tarantino fan. I am by no means a Quentin Tarantino expert. All I really know about his movies is they are uber violent, and I'm going to be the killjoy for 20 seconds here. I'm going to be the nerd and say I don't like gratuitous violence in movies. And I'm not a fan, unlike a lot of people, I'm not a fan of like true crime for entertainment because I always, I'm empathetic and I'm like, oh, these are somebody's family members. Like I don't want to watch, about their murder for my own entertainment. So the reason I was drawn to this film and wanted to see it and come talk about it is, first of all, I love the era. Like anything 60s I'm into. Mm-hmm. But I saw that Deborah Tate, Sharon's sister, was like on board with it and was okay with the script and the way it was portrayed. So I was like, well, if she's okay with it, because I know how protective she is of Sharon's memory and everything.
Yeah.
I think this is going to go in a different direction that I'm not expecting. I think I'm going to be okay with it. So from seeing the movie, I'm just saying, I guess I can spoil the end. I'm pretty sure we're not going to see Sharon Tate get butchered in this movie, is what I'm trying to say. And we didn't. So
we didn't. Well, that's the fear. But then, luckily, Inglourious Basterds came before it, and so people who've seen that know, or at least it's in the zeitgeist enough to know. It's like, oh, he kills Hitler.
Yeah. Right. He'll change history. And
he'll change history. And,
right. It's not a documentary.
Right. But that's the other thing that I think, well, we'll talk about this more possibly, but I think that's something that works in his favor is that you go, but is he though?
Right.
Because that's, especially when the movie switches gears to almost like a completely different film.
Yes.
You just go, oh, okay, that feeling I get when I watched Hateful Eight, where it's like, I know people are going to die here.
But who is it?
Who is it, and who's going to go first, and then who's second?
Yeah.
Oh, God, who's third and fourth? Yeah, and that's that feeling you get in a Tarantino movie.
When it switches, and you can tell, one, because you've already been sitting there for 2 hours, so you know it's going to end at some point soon. You know it's wrapping up, but it totally changes in tone, and obviously the date, from February we go to August 8th, so we know it's coming. And, you get that, oh, here we go, but I, for one, had a feeling like this is not going to go down the way I think. It's not going to go down predictably.
Oh, yeah. But, I hope not. Or I would just think, it tries to switch over, and of course it goes wrong for them. Mm-hmm. But I was thinking that's what we were going to see, was them all get butchered. And I should be clear, Rick Dalton and Cliff and his Francesca, his new Italian wife.
His Italian crew wife.
Yeah. So
you thought they were going to die.
Well, and let's be honest, that marriage is maybe a year.
Yeah.
Of course. Of course.
Most.
I feel like that is based after someone where someone can't. Was it?
Yeah, there's a couple. In this movie, everything's analogous to something else.
All right, sorry.
So my soundbite takeaway is...
It's okay. This is
I go on tangents, too.
No, it's okay.
My soundbite, one-sentence takeaway is that I really liked it. I liked that it was surprisingly, refreshingly clear of violence, really, till you get to the very end. Mm-hmm. It's really not that violent or that like the bad language was to a minimum. I think kids could go if you've got a kid that is somewhat hardy. I wouldn't necessarily say don't bring your kids. I'm not telling you to do it either, but
you can go left or right. You
yes,
can go either way.
Yes, don't blame me either way. But at the end of the day, I appreciated. I think it was a really good story, well developed characters and story, and I appreciated that. And the wacky ending was fun and not too much for a pearl clutcher like me.
Yeah. All right, Eric, what's your soundbite real quick?
So, I'll say I'm like the moderate Quentin Tarantino fan.
Yeah.
Where I love everything he's done from a cinematic level, but also understand that he and his films have some very serious, specific flaws or issues, especially looking back at them.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm also, like I said, I'm a big Quentin Tarantino fan around the fact that Jackie Brown is my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie.
I need to rewatch that because I watched that like at 3 o'clock in the morning on HBO, and I was like, everyone likes this. This movie's fucked.
I feel like there's also two kind of Quentin Tarantino fans, and one is where Jackie Brown's their favorite.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say that those aren't real Quentin Tarantino fans.
Oh, no. I was also like 18 or 19 when that movie came out.
I love his structure and the way he puts the stuff together, and I wish someone would tell him maybe don't throw as many N-words around. But...
Yes.
But at the same point...
Knowing Samuel L. Jackson does not mean it's okay. Yeah.
Right.
You might be able to have him say it in the movie when you're dealing with, I don't know, slavery because it makes sense.
Not as a defense of... Because that is kind of the only thing that really still bugs me a little bit about Reservoir Dogs, which is otherwise nearly perfect. But structurally and
how it's
put together and everything, is the N-word droppage. But also it's like one of those things that you watch it, you go, God, it's feels so bad that this keeps getting thrown around and it hurts you a little bit. And then you think like, oh, people don't talk like this anymore. And then this last year and a half or so, it's kind of proven that yes, they do. And sometimes they get elected president. So it's like, maybe he's just showing how people actually do talk, sadly. Way
to bring us all down, Eric. God damn it.
That's me, baby.
It's Jesus.
That's me. I write sad comedy.
I love sad comedy.
So that's my brand.
Having a brand is important.
So it's one of those things where halfway through the movie, I was like, man, I really don't know where I'd put this in my Quentin Tarantino rankings. Yeah. And then the second half kicked in, and I was like, I am on fucking board.
Yeah.
It was it felt the whole first half, which I was really not expecting, like a Richard Linklater hangout, sprawling film, and I wasn't sure where it was going and why we kept seeing all the shoe leather.
Yeah.
Until you realize that, it was the point of it. And it's, as much as I hate to do the whole thing of like, LA being a character, like New York being a character for, an even more problematic director. But LA in the love of that time was a real character in this one. So all the driving made sense later when you realized what it was doing.
Oh, yeah. I enjoyed it a great deal. I thought it was... I don't know where I need to watch it again, and then also I just need to do a complete rewatch of everything,
which I just did.
Which you did. So,
which I just did going into this one. Just
I have no context for how So when I first saw Pulp Fiction, for example, I hated Pulp Fiction, but then my cousin loved it, and he would we would work together, so he would start quoting, and I was like, "Where the hell is that from? I've heard that before." He's like, "Zed's dead." Oh, that's from Pulp Fiction, and he would just quote it back and forth, like reach into the bag and grab my wallet. Which one is this? The one that says, was it bad motherfucker or whatever? It's just little stupid things like that. And you're like, that's kind of funny how it rolls off the tongue and stuff like that.
But I kind of liked how this one was less quotable.
Yeah. Like the only thing this is horrible that I could take away. And to be fair, somebody that I live with is Mexican, but it's the comic Cliff, because anytime Mexicans get mentioned in a movie, she's like excited. Even
sure.
Yeah.
When you're German, you can't be excited whenever Germans are mentioned in a movie because it's not always that great.
It's always
usually bad.
It usually goes a different direction.
And fairly so.
Totally.
I wasn't cheering any Inglourious Bastards. They're German too.
Yeah. No. Was when Cliff goes, I'm so sorry about that, Cliff, blah, 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 blah. He's like, no, man, no, it's okay. Just don't fucking cry in front of the Mexicans. And then I was just like, the fuck? Like that? And then right when I said it, she's like, oh, that's right. You don't, yeah, because you know what? We're fucking tough. And she just, and she doesn't talk like that at all.
Yeah.
So she was getting riled up and he's like, that's right. You don't fucking cry in front of Mexicans. I was like, oh God. So it's just, that's the weird quotable I took away. I love the one thing with Bruce Lee and the fist.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like, yeah, it's called manslaughter.
Yeah. Anybody accidentally kills someone, they go to jail.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. Like for the most part though, like it's not super quotable. And it does in the plotting. It is plotting. It's like it's plodding along, I should say. Like it feels like it's just kind of coming along. This is the day. How's it going? This is going over here. He's having a bad go of it, but we're just going to keep following him over here.
Yeah,
and we cut
February 9th was a long day. I was sitting there watching it like trying to figure out with mathematical formulas, how do they have time to do all this stuff? February 9th was like an hour and 45 minutes.
Also, I appreciated, and it took me a second as a viewer to understand when he was doing the flashbacks. Mm-hmm. Because it took me like, wait, is this now when he's going back to see Kurt Russell and do all that? And it's like, oh no, that's the flashback.
The flashback
on
in
the
the
roof.
flashback in the flashback.
That's the exact one that got me too. The Bruce Lee whole thing. I thought that was like present time until it went back to the roof.
Right.
And I forgot seeing him on the roof the first time because it had been like such a long tangent. But,
yeah. But it's oddly a funny one.
Well, and
interesting too to the character.
To me, that's when there's like two moments in the film where Quentin kind of goes full Quentin, where he like kind of does something to be stylish, and that was one of them.
Yeah.
And to me, that one worked.
Yeah.
The other one that I don't understand why he did it or what it was
Okay.
When he's talking to Timothy Oliphant, and they're having the conversation
the
about
actor in the Western scene. Yeah.
So-
Oh, with the Great Escape.
Yeah, and they're talking about the Great Escape. And the talk up to that, where it's like you hear a camera lens click, and like it cuts a couple times, where that conversation isn't actually fluid
Yeah.
because its hat changes.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I remember that now.
And I was just kinda
thought it was a mistake at first.
Right,
and,
but it was
yeah.
it felt like one of those, like, you know, the things like he did for Grindhouse, which was just way too much in Grindhouse.
Yeah.
But it was like, you know, it felt like a weird kind of choice of editing that was not done anywhere else, and I didn't understand why it was done for that film.
I'm so glad
that part
you said that because I thought I just imagined it.
No, other than you know, him imagining how he would be in The Great Escape while saying, "No, I was never up for it," which was hilarious.
Now, see, this is where I got confused on that. Is that I took it as he actually did shoot, and then it's almost like Eric Stoltz in Back to the Future. They recast his ass.
Yeah.
And so, you know what? Stoltz is still in the movie, driving the little car. Beyond that, they got Steve McQueen in there. Also,
that's what I wasn't sure if they did that or if it was him imagining it.
So that's where I got confused. I thought it was him going like, "Yeah, I didn't shoot anything. I don't know what you're talking about." And it's like, "Oh no, you did, and you got fired."
Right.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like either way it works, of either whether he's imagining himself in that role and he's telling him the truth, or whether he's lying to him and we're seeing the truth. Either way, they're opposite, and it still
he wasn't drinking before the set that day. He was drinking at home, and then he had a hangover, but he wasn't still drinking, was he? Until after that? Because I know he had the little...
We went like in the trailer, and he opened it and then like threw it out the door, and then he went home and was drinking at
Well,
home.
I guess I'm trying to think, like, did
he went to take a
out
drink,
or
he went
something?
to take a drink in front of the girl.
Okay.
And then and then she saw him and he put it away.
Right.
And then he talked to Oliphant after that, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I just thought of this, like, what if he blacked out or something? I'm trying to make sense of that editing because
that whole part was probably the most confusing.
Yeah, and I did.
But yeah, and like, so like that was like the one like stylish kind of thing that he did that I was like, why did you do that?
I bet it's one of those things. He's like, "Yeah, did you catch that? Here's the thing," and then you're like, "What
Right.
the hell?" No,
What's happening there is he's editing on the fly in a conversation. Sorry, that was my attempt to bullshit.
So, yes, for those listening, Quentin turns things around at the end. Well, Margarita Machine doesn't mask the sound of the car. So, supposedly in real life, in the reality that we're living in, as per Quentin, the car pulls up to, was it Celio Drive, and then they backed out because they realized they were taking too much noise. And then on the way up, they killed someone walking their dog or something, or a passerby. And
We're talking about real life?
In real life. And then they
So it was
stormed
like
the-
some 18-year-old kid drove his car, was like driving his car. I don't know. I don't know if he was visiting the person that was in the guest house or what, but they stopped a guy at the gate and shot him there. And he
Okay.
was dead in his car.
Yeah, and he had nothing to do with the Tates, I don't think. Or
Yeah, I don't. That's
he,
what I'm.
He was a complete
not,
bystander.
Like he might have been a friend of, because there was a guy living in the guest house at the time
Okay.
that was not murdered,
And that was
like
Kato
woke up the
Kaelin.
next morning. Like yeah,
Wait,
No.
wrong Hollywood.
Yeah, wrong. No, but that. Yeah, so I liked how that, but then the twist is that Rick comes out and it's like, "Get the hell out of here, you damn!" And also,
Yeah.
Okay,
His performance was
I-
so unhinged and great.
it was, and also the twist that he still has the flamethrower.
yeah.
Of all things, I just remember. I don't know if your guys' audiences reacted, but like it popped for
yeah.
mine, which is like you don't see. You just see. I think it was that he focuses on the feet and slowly pans up.
Yeah.
Where you just go, oh my god, I can see it. Kind of. He's like, is that the flame? Oh, it's the flamethrower. And then my first thought was like, oh, what if this blows up and kills him? She's probably dead anyway at this
Yeah.
point. She's fucked up. And then he just smokes it. No, funny aside, because I just thought of this, and it has nothing in relation to what we're talking about. The moment my wife, she, God love her, she pees constantly. And so, hold on. And
Like-
so, yeah, all the time.
Never
what?
stops.
No, but like when she goes to the movies, she has to make an effort, like right before the trailer starts, like right, because she enjoys watching the trailers. She has to go to the bathroom.
Yeah. Oh, you. I mean,
And I get it. That's
you got
it's
to plan
smart.
it out with
Yeah.
a Quentin Tarantino.
You do, or any movie over like 2.5 hours.
Been so
absolutely.
many late. I know.
Oh yeah, Endgame and all this other stuff. So she's kind of used to it, but she's like, I have a game plan. I'm going to go in. And then she's like, I'm not going to drink anything today. I'm not going to do that. And I was like,
That's
rookie
what I did.
Rookie
No,
mistake.
you can't drink.
And she
No.
didn't drink anything, but halfway
why you
through,
just
she's
do
just like,
shots.
I got to go to the bathroom. Do you think it's almost over? And it's right when they're on the plane. And the editing of how the rest of the day goes
The
hasn't
narrating
really
was-
kicked in
yeah.
super well yet. You just know Kurt Russell's narrating, and she's like, "How much longer is this?" And I was like, "You should go now.
Yeah.
You should leave right now and
It's
do it."
not going to get less eventful
No.
at this
No,
point.
and then
It's
she's
August
like,
8th.
"Oh, I think I'm gonna stick around." And then when they said that they changed said the time. And then she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm totally not going." like she's like, "This is picking up."
Yeah.
I was just like,
Yeah, this
oh,
is
God.
this is the part.
Did you also think Cliff was going to die, just from how things?
Well,
even
and-
if he,
Okay,
really.
so at the one point, that's where the movie started to click differently for me. Is
Yeah.
when he gave Kat the ride to the ranch. That's when things started to feel differently in the movie. I felt like that's when things started to go from being the hangout light. We're just driving around LA. I'm passing this hitchhiker a few times. Haha. Like everything's light and breezy.
Yeah, it took
no
the
one
darker
cares.
turn there.
That's when it started to be like, it was like the people at the ranch were almost like literal gathering storm clouds.
Yeah.
As the way they kind of like started enveloping him.
well, and the other interesting thing about this is, which is important to know, and it was kind of similar in Inglourious Bastards, but not as much maybe, because the war was so sprawling. Multiple people, or millions of people were involved. The Tate murders were just like a few people. And Manson family killed other people too, not to discount their sad passings. But in terms of context of what Tarantino was trying to kind of show you and all that, Cliff and... Fuck, what's his name?
Rick?
Rick Dalton. Yeah,
Yes.
sorry.
Fucking Rick Dalton.
Fucking Rick Dalton. Goddamn right I am. He's like, well, I'll fucking, what did he say? I'll fucking put a bullet in your head. I'm like, Jesus. And then because then for a second I was like, it's Tarantino. He probably could.
Yeah.
But no, they're not real in
Right.
terms of
Rick and
history.
Cliff,
Yeah, Rick
right.
and Cliff are. So the moment he's walking by, I was like, what if we've seen everything that Cliff's in this movie for?
Yeah.
Like, and
That's
so
the feeling I felt too. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I was like, "Are they going to find a dead body and they're going to stab him from behind or something?" And
Oh,
kill
you
him
thought
at
he was
the-
going to die at the ranch.
I thought he
Well,
might.
that's what I'm saying. Like I started getting tensed up a little bit because it could go that direction.
I've seen Burn After Reading where he got shot in the closet halfway through.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
which is
and I don't. Well, it's like I thought the way they were building up and this is advertising done right. The way that Tarantino's Hateful Eight was, I thought Kurt Russell would at least get maybe 5 people in before out of like the 10 people in that cabin before. No. Kurt is the first one to go.
Yeah.
and it's and you're just like, but it's Kurt Russell. There's that whole, well, he's the movie star. So it's saying it's like, is this where
Are they
Brad
gonna
Pitt's
take out
gonna?
Brad Pitt?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I figure they might keep Rick Dalton's Leo around a little bit more, but Cliff.
Yeah, I mean,
so it was.
you could see it being one of those things of like Cliff just disappears.
It was very tense when he was going in the house,
Oh, yeah.
like, I'm seeing George.
Yeah.
I mean, something more should have happened there. It didn't really, but yeah, I could see.
So, well, I'll throw this out there. This kind of, because Cliff himself, first, do you think that he murdered his wife?
Oh, I hate
See,
that
that's
little
where everything
plot
hinges.
bit.
Honestly,
I
that's
don't
what-
understand why it's in there.
Oh, no, that's because the ending hinges on it.
But I don't think it does. So
Well, it does in the fact of... So here's why I think the ending hinges on how you view if he killed his wife or not. Is at that last bit, it's either... Is he a sociopath with this dark side that's completely fucked up? Or is it a redemption arc for him? Is he a guy who accidentally killed his wife and then makes good by saving people at the end? Or is he a guy that killed his wife and then has another chance to fuck people up? And it
don't think
leaves it
it's
to you
either of those.
because the thing that I love about this, about the ending, is we as an audience are completely complicit in those killings at the end. Because we are the ones who feel the complete tension relief. To us, it's cathartic because we know
what would have happened?
what would have happened.
Yeah.
Cliff doesn't.
Right.
Cliff just knows these are those fucking weirdos from the ranch that came into his house, and he kills them anyway.
Right. So he doesn't know that he's saving Sharon Tate,
Right.
etc. So I don't think it's like some hero, I'm going to save everyone. But I don't think that it's, I'm going to kill people for no reason either. They broke in the house and they're pointing guns and knives at him. It's self-defense.
But at any point, they were disarmed, and he just kept sending the dog after him and smashing her into
Fair
more
game.
stuff.
I mean,
But see, that's what I mean. Like, that's one of those things of, is it one of those things of, that's why I like where that scene's at, because it puts everything on you to determine his motivation.
So yeah, I'm kind of with him a little bit on that, but I wish Tarantino sometimes just doesn't give us the answer he wants us to figure out. And this is
Right.
one of those ones where I'm like, at the end, give me the fucking answer. And you can sit there, because to me the answer was, yeah, I think he did. I don't think he. I don't know. I don't know. I still don't know, but I'm leaning towards yes, because that dude fucks them up. And he has the ability to do it. He knows how to handle himself under pressure. So if that boat's rocking, he knows where his trigger finger is. And it's horrifying to think that.
Even if he was hammered.
Even if he was hammered. Well, he should be smart enough to know then if he's hammered, you don't be fucking holding a spear. Unless, like, there's nobody else around. And even then, you got to be careful because you could harpoon yourself.
He was dumb enough to go into a house with 400 cult people watching him.
Well, that's true. But see, But even then, like, you didn't know. You still don't really know. Like, the Bruce Lee fight, I feel, is step one in going, oh, he can defend himself well, and he's a stuntman.
Sure.
But, like, just because you're a stuntman doesn't mean you're the strongest guy in the room.
Just
like,
means you can take a fall.
It means you can take a fall. And technically, that's what that whole contest really was, is how to take a fall. And the only problem is his dodge just really fucked up Bruce Lee in that car. And then the second thing was, I feel like that was the first thing. And the second thing was they showed the clip of him possibly killing his wife. Yeah. And so now you have this, well, wait, how dangerous is this guy? Because then you start thinking for a second, before he goes to the ranch, you're like, oh, the ending, I know where this is going. And then he starts walking around, you're like, oh, the tension's a little, he might not make it to the end, which means if he's not at the end, this could be just Rick Dalton is the one who gets killed, but then they go after Sharon too. It becomes a whole cluster of emotions.
So was I the only one that thought, okay, first of all, the whole Sharon going to the movies to watch herself in the Wrecking Crew, I thought was a drawn-out scene that didn't need to be that long. And then, but it had me thinking, because they showed her, like, training with Bruce Lee and stuff, had me thinking she was going to kick their asses at the end. Did anybody else? Like, is that why this is in here? To make us
Sharon
think,
Tate.
well, sure, why not?
That would be fucking
that
sweet.
She's trained by Bruce Lee and she's going to kick their asses is what I thought.
I thought that for a split second. It did run a little long, but I felt like it's a weird thing because I was like, this is running too long. And then I was like, but it's weird in a good way of her watching the real Sharon Tate act.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool to see, that they put
and that's where like what
the real
her
footage.
sister was actually in the scene with her.
Oh, really?
Sharon Tate's sister was in the audience in the movie theater scene.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a nice tribute for sure,
Yeah.
and you see Sharon Tate's face on the big screen again here. But so I mean that's great. But I
This
thought,
would be something you cut out.
she's gonna cut down, not cut out, but cut down.
Definitely. Okay.
But then
Yeah.
I thought maybe he put in there on purpose to make as a red herring, like she's gonna kick their asses.
So I feel like Tarantino knows what you're expecting of him. So like that, and what I was saying about like, oh, well, if they show those two scenes, but then he gets killed at the ranch, that completely changes our expectation of what will happen at the end. I think he knows that we're all thinking that when are people going to die? It's a Tarantino movie,
Yeah.
Sure.
And so
and I definitely think
he does play that up well.
that he is really playing on, I guess, a knowledgeable audience's expectations. That if
Of
you
the
know,
murders, yeah.
if you know the Manson murders, if you know Sharon Tate, if you know that kind of stuff, and the fact that in general society, unfortunately, she's been reduced to being a victim.
And statistic,
And a statistic in society, essentially, and not celebrated for at her life.
Who she was, because I mean it was cut very short. Her career was cut very
Right.
short. Like she is the legend that she is because of how she died. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
Yep.
because there just wasn't enough of it before that.
Oh, I
for her
agree.
to,
But I think he's playing on that expectation that you're going to be for a lot of people they're going to be viewing her as, oh, she's going to be the victim from the second she comes out
Right.
on
Absolutely.
screen.
Yeah.
And so he's trying to just show you her life and show you that she's full of life. And at a certain point you're like, oh, guys, it's because he's about to cut it short, and because now I'm gonna
take it away again.
Yeah, now it's going to make it hurt even more at the end, and then
I think she's also a sign of the new Hollywood that's kind of creeping in.
Yes.
Like there's an earnestness to her, or that he focuses on, and I think it's all coming out of that scene. To me, just because that's one of Rick's things that he has to deal with, and so you're getting Rick's version of it, where he's kind of the man out, and then you have her, which is she is a nice hippie. She's not like a Manson hippie,
Right.
She does all that stuff, but she's very just nice and polite and very open and eager. And then, because literally like a year later, all the long-haired actors are going to start taking over the screen with, was it Easy Rider? Was it 71, 72? And that kind of thing. So I think she's like the beginning drum march of that, where it starts off earnest and then it'll become more fragmented as it goes on. I don't know, like it's a very interesting... It's a weird scene because, you want to cut it down. But then there's a part of me that was like, oh, but I did enjoy it for what it was. It's a weird...
Yeah, and that's kind of where it ties in, too, with the ending. Like you said, she was kind of like the new, kind of up-and-coming. And a big part of this is the fact that, like, a lot of people viewed, those murders as being kind of like the end of innocence in Hollywood.
Yes.
And basically what Quentin's saying there at the end is, what if it didn't have to end?
Right.
Imagine, which is why I love that the title comes on at the end. It's basically saying, this was all a fable.
It's a fairy tale. Yeah.
It's all a fairy
It's a happy
tale.
ending.
This is what we wanted. This was the hero saves the princess, whatever.
Yeah.
Standard fairy tale bullshit. But, what if the the quote unquote innocence, because obviously it was a great time for white people.
Yeah.
There wasn't great representation for a lot of...
Literally, the line about the Mexicans was pretty much it in that movie. Like, of them talking about anyone that wasn't...
Yeah, I mean, but even in general, it's like that was, a great time in Hollywood if you were a certain type and pretty much a white guy.
Yeah.
Which still 50 years later hasn't changed that much. It's just
Sadly,
starting to.
It's starting to.
It's down like 7%.
Yeah.
Which for Hollywood is a big deal, but no, that doesn't make it right at all.
Yeah.
But it was kind of a, like, what if things didn't have to go to the hippies? What if we didn't have to confront the fact that we are no longer safe in our gated communities?
Well, so that's the other thing too, is that you never, like, they showed other scenes too when Rick would come home and he wouldn't lock the door, and you're thinking nothing of it.
Please lock the door.
That one moment,
I was thinking it.
It's that overhead shot in the last day in August where Pitt comes in with the dog and the lights are all off and he's tripping and he doesn't lock the door, and it's that overhead shot and it just kind of hangs there, just like everything else is hanging, and you're just like, lock the door. Lock the oh god.
One thing you mentioned it there, though, the overhead shot. Quentin uses that maybe 5-6 times, and I think he uses it so well because he's basically showing the bullshit about the fact that these Hollywood hills are still right next to these other areas. He was basically using a lot of those crane shots to kind of show how Los Angeles was all connected, and there isn't actually this barrier that
people think
exists.
Yeah.
At that time, that they thought they were safe, so whatever. But like he'd use that crane shot like over with a house, and you'd be right into standard housing, non-millionaire kind of
looks
stuff.
like you're in the valley of what you would think the valley looks like, even though it's been a little gentrified.
And that's like one of those things where like those were like the interesting choices of the meandering of like you actually showing LA as like a character kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, and also you can tell he just loves the era, which
he does. And that again, as mentioned, is a problematic era, just as he is sometimes a problematic director.
Yes. Yeah. So I was trying to think here. So this movie also did something weird, which is he has a lot of white famous people's kids in the movie.
Yes. Which I love the fact that actually if you go to IMDb, you see who was the first person listed for this movie because of
Stranger Things. Yes.
Well, and Uma Thurman.
Uma Thurman. Maya Hawke.
It doesn't even have a character name.
I think it's Flower Child. Is her only name. It's not even really. Yeah. Actually, I'm sorry. I'm looking. I have it up already, and it's Flower Child. I was like, I pulled that one out of my ass pretty well. No, you read it. You read it, you idiot. Someone asked me, who's also a big movie fan at work today. They're like, what was Kurt Russell's son in it? I was like, I don't think
he wasn't. I love me some Wyatt Russell, though.
Wyatt Russell.
His Lodge 49 show is fun.
Harley Quinn Smith, speaking of Kevin Smith, was in there, which was bizarre.
I think a lot of the cult kids were kids of famous people.
I think even Rumor Willis. I thought Rumor Willis was the girl at the
girl that visited Sharon at the end there the last day.
Oh, okay. I thought she was the one girl at the movie theater that was just like
no. That's okay. What is her name? She's actually she is hilarious. She's the one from Bad Moms.
Yeah. Okay. I know what you're talking. Yeah. I'm trying to see if I can find her name, but also mad props for. He's barely in the movie at all, but they got Damian Lewis to really pull off Steve McQueen.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he looks like more 70... Like, didn't he pass away in 79? Like, he looked more like 72, 73 Steve McQueen, where he had, like, the super curly hair. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was just like, damn, he looks like Steve McQueen.
Well, I love, too, that Tim Roth and James Marsden got cut from the film.
Yes, and they got credit for it at the end, because Sarah saw James Marsden and I saw Eric.
James has been cut from a lot of stuff, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, sadly, yes.
He deserves so much better.
He does. He's a good actor. Emil Hirsch did a good job.
No,
not a fan? Or just of his performance?
I'd never heard of Emil Hirsch until after I saw this movie on Friday. Okay. And then I was like reading reviews and comments about the movie, and everybody was pissed off that Emil Hirsch is in this movie.
Why?
He admitted to and was convicted of and spent time in prison for attacking a woman viciously because she turned down his advances. He pulled her to the ground, put her in a chokehold, assaulted her.
Well, that makes sense.
So, yeah, that's a little damper on that one.
Oh, man, suddenly Cliff seems like a good guy.
Right?
Oh, I feel horrible laughing at that.
Also, look, I've never been tripping balls, but Cliff was tripping balls when he was beating up on those people, too. So I don't know if that affected...
Well, so that's another thing, which, again,
that's impressive, though.
That he sets up really well, which Tierney is just like... Because you forget about the cigarettes, and you're thinking, it's like, well, that's going to come back later.
Right, when he puts it in there, you know it's going to come back.
But you're thinking it's going to come back like... You know, I don't know.
I thought his wife.
Or something.
Well, you think like it's going to be something like Maya, where like his wife is going to smoke it something,
or Rick will smoke and he thinks it's all like part of the show.
Right, he watches the murders thinking he's tripping,
which Cliff kind of thinks for a second, but then he's just also like, I remember you. You're that. You had a shitty name like Rex or something. Like
I'm the devil. No, it was dumber.
I'm the devil. No, I was definitely dumber than that.
So good.
I like the guy who played the director too.
Oh, who the fuck was that? They said it was like kind of no name.
Yeah. I looked him up, and he was kind of like a non-known guy. But the whole time I kept watching him, all I kept thinking was he reminded me so much of, because God bless her, my wife has watched the show with me in the room many times, that Say Yes to the Dress.
Say yes to the dress.
Wait.
It just reminded me of like the guy from Say Yes to the Dress coming in as the
Tutera
director.
guy?
Yeah, the director. It's like, look, I didn't hire you to be a TV cowboy. I hired you because you're Rick Dalton.
Yeah.
I love the fact that apparently Bruce Dern was supposed to be
Spawn Pon.
No, yeah, but it was
yeah.
supposed
He
to,
hasn't
Burt
come
Reynolds?
up yet.
yeah, Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds.
Oh yeah,
But he
that was-
died,
he
And-
passed
but, which
away.
is funny then because James Marsden was playing Burt Reynolds
Oh,
and got cut. So like, how funny would it have been if you had Burt Reynolds playing someone else and someone playing
When
Burt
someone's
Reynolds
playing
instead?
Burt Reynolds, yeah.
That would have been really
That
funny.
would, and yeah. So I was trying to find Bruce Dern because
Yeah.
I couldn't remember his name. George Spahn, and then it was like Lena Dunham as Gypsy, and then Martin Cove. He played the villain on the Bounty Law clip that they showed.
Oh.
Martin Cove is
Yes.
King or Cobra Kai from the Karate Kid, because this is you all at home can't see this, but there's the picture. And I'm like, is that no? And then of course you click on it, boom, the Karate Kid. I was just like,
Well-
holy shit.
Well, and that was. It took me a minute. I didn't realize it even at the time till later that was Luke Perry
Oh, really?
Yeah, that
as the Boston.
the Boston Lancer or something.
Yeah,
So I was confused on that. Was that what was the name of the show he was on? Because
Lancer.
Lancer.
It is Lancer, but wasn't Timothy Oliphant, who's the lead, wasn't his character like Miami something or something weird like that? Here, I'm gonna see it in a second. No, it'll just show the actor's name that he's playing, not him. James Stacey. Yes, he doesn't say.
Oh, yeah.
God damn it!
I love me some Oliphant, which of course now Tarantino's now worked with I think almost everybody from Justified, which makes me happy because God, I love Justified.
Wasn't Scoot McNairy in a guest starred in Justified?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
it
Or
feels
I feel
right.
like he was like one of the sons in the season with Martin
Businessman Bob.
Businessman. Yeah,
Businessman Bob.
And I did. So I will say this too. This because I'm watching the clip of him doing the scene with Timothy Oliphant, and it is after his pep talk, and I'm like, I already know in the trailer how this is going to go, but like you don't know if she says it to be cruel or does it to be context thing.
Yes.
And when you're watching it, and he doesn't. I feel like he doesn't do nice scenes like that. You know what I mean? Where it just nice things kind of happen. You know what I mean? And it's a quiet. It's a movie set, so it's not super quiet. He's yelling and he throws her to the ground and all that stuff because he's the bad guy. But when it's all over, like, it is played for a laugh, but I feel like in anyone else's hands, that could go you could be laughing at him instead of with him, or with him and how silly the situation is. I feel like it could have been like a bad funny instead of like, yeah. It's like
His reaction to hearing that felt genuine.
No, right,
Yeah.
which is...
For sure.
Which, and again, you're gonna kind of laugh at because it's like that was the best acting I've ever seen. He's like, "Fuck yes, it was."
I just on that point,
Yeah.
his acting with the slow realization that the Bronco Buster book he's reading actually is his own life. As he,
Oh my God.
as he's saying that and comes to realize what he's saying and how it applies to him and how he takes that was fucking chilling. Like
That was a great
as
moment.
an actor, it's like that.
DiCaprio
was
nailed
so
it.
good.
And then they, like I feel like other people. I feel like that scene is a scene you see in other movies, not Tarantino movies. I feel like, and that's why I think I just appreciate. I'm talking myself into thinking this is my favorite film right now. But no, I mean, you don't see that in a lot of his other films. Like, it's,
But I think a lot of people could chew that scene, and he doesn't chew it at all. It feels so.
It feels
like waves,
natural.
yeah.
And then, of course, he had some levity to it where he's like, don't worry, it'll happen to you
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
day.
You got like 12 years left or something.
You got 12
14
years left.
years,
It's like,
whatever.
Jesus.
Which is such an odd, because it's like one of those things like, because he's in like such an honest place, you say something like that, and then you realize, oh shit, where am I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was so good.
Yeah, I
love that her stunt double came running up to her too.
Oh, yeah.
That was cute. Yeah.
It was... And also, too, the director came up and said, that's exactly what I wanted. Thank you. Because, maybe they're placating him on some level, but no, it was actually a good... I mean, he was kind of creepy, which... so this is the other thing, too. I'm watching some of the scenes of him in the old style TV shows. I used to love watching Nick at Night, Dick Van Dyke Show, and all that stuff. I don't remember the show FBI, but again, Nick at Night would only show fucking Dragnet.
Dragnet,
Which,
yep.
Yeah. And then Adam, was it Adam 66? Adam something or other.
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah. So I guess my knowledge of like the cop shows was that and Car 54. Where are you?
Yeah.
Very different. And so it's like, and I knew of The Fugitive because the movie came out and was based after the TV show from the 90s with Harrison Ford. That's my concept of like hour-long dramas or whatever. That and Dragnet.
I love the part too, like as they're dressing him, the fact that basically it's also showing a little bit of change of the times when the fact that they're making the bad guy look like a hippie because they know who their audience is. Essentially, their audience is basically going to be a lot of conservative people watching westerns. So
damn hippies.
So you make
damn hippies.
Dress the bad guy a little bit to look like the enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, Rick trying to combat that was because and first you feel bad for him because like, oh, you're going to make you look like the thing you hate, and
which is an interesting thing though that they do with the movie as well. It kind of goes in with the overhead shots of showing how things are connected. One thing that they do a really good job is basically showing how all these different groups, all these different people, and whether they're the hippies on the ranch or the swells or just like the regular people living in trailers, they're all watching FBI on a Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. It's one of those things where at that time was one of those things where the song on the radio is the song half the city was listening to. The show on the TV was the thing that half the town was watching that night.
You don't have many other options.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was weird how, like, the limited pop culture and stuff at that point really did kind of give such a shared experience of something like that.
Yeah.
Because
I feel like TV-wise, the last major thing that had where everyone watched it was it Who Shot JR and then the MASH finale.
Yeah.
And... You know what I mean? Because I just remember when Friends ended, they're like, we're going to beat MASH. And I was just like, that's a lot of people, dude. Like, the Super Bowl hasn't
The Cheers finale, maybe.
Yeah.
The
Cheers finale was pretty massive.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, we're not going to probably sadly
don't do that
see
anymore of everybody at one time.
Yeah, I mean, you look at everyone talking about, like, Game of Thrones finale setting records. Well, yeah, it set records for HBO or streaming. But if you look at, like, the amount of people,
not really.
It was like what you would consider, maybe the season finale of The Nanny. I don't know.
Oh, hello there.
Back when, everyone watched CB, or like TGIF ratings.
Oh, no, yeah.
For an entire Friday.
Everybody loves Ray.
That wasn't TGIF.
No. Well, he was on Fridays, though, TGIF. By the way, this is a weird side tangent. Darkest ending to any show ever.
Dinosaurs.
Yes. Yes.
100%.
Okay,
oh
so
my God.
I missed that, and someone was talking to me about that. I was like, no.
It can't
And then I watched the clip on YouTube, and I was like, it's like, Daddy or not the dad, not the mama, are we going to be okay? And then he's like, oh, no. I don't know. And then they just
pans out to all the snow.
Snow. And then I think he even says, he's like, Daddy, I'm scared. And you're like, oh no. He called him Dad. Oh. They're all doomed. and also it's timely because they kill a bird from deforestation, and then it it might happen with the bees soon.
Yay.
Yeah, no, yeah. TGIF. What was also TGIF? It was Step by Step.
Step by Step.
Well, it depends on different years.
Yeah.
There's maybe like 7.
Perfect Strangers, Full House,
Family
Big Anger,
Matters.
Family Matters.
Did I do that?
You had the Heather Locklear Going Places for about 2 seasons.
What? I don't remember Going Places.
We should do a podcast on TGIF, okay?
Okay. Oh, God. Well, sadly, on my end, it will be mostly Full House for like a half second, and then it's all Urkel. I don't know why. I was just like, Urkel's my boy. If he can get Laura, I can get Laura.
I just kept wanting Carl Winslow to be the same cop from Die Hard, and just have it come up at some point during Family Matters that he killed a kid.
So my memory might be off on this, but
Again, sad comedy,
The ending of Family Matters was also super a bummer, which is it ended with Urkel sacrificing himself in space. saying goodbye to Laura, like he always loved her. And
That sounds awesome. Sacrificing yourself in space.
It is. So like because he's smart, he's asked to go on this trip on NASA, and it's like on the space station, and something goes wrong, and Urkel figures out, of course, because it's Urkel, that how to fix it. And it happens to be when they're also talking to Laura and Carl and all of them. So it's like they're hearing everything go south, and you're like, oh, this isn't funny. Mm-hmm. And then Urkel is like, I think I've got it figured out. I swear this is what I just remember. I watched it because it moved to CBS.
I don't remember.
It moved to CBS.
Confirmed or denied.
No, I know. This is my memory of it, which is he just goes, Laura, I always loved you, and it's like, I'm really sorry. I'll try to find my way back home, but I don't. I think this. I'll try.
Wait, is Urkel like lost in space now?
In the Quentin Tarantino version of that, he came back.
Luke Skywalker died.
He came back perfectly fine.
Luke Skywalker died, but Urkel survived.
Right.
But then you'll never get no great like moment in Kevin Smith's Janice on the Box. You'll be like, "Hey kids, it's Mark Hamill." You don't fuck with the Jedi Master, son. But the fact that they got him to say that in anything is fantastic. Good job, Kevin Smith.
Hamill's a delight, though.
Oh, he is. I just like. The only problem is if you hear 2 interviews with him, you start picking up more than other people. Like, oh, I've heard this one before. He's gonna.
I don't know.
Well, he knows how to talk to an audience because they're gonna want spoilers, so he knows how to dodge. But then he starts talking about the the UPs, the ultimate or UPFs, ultimate passionate fans. I've heard that so many times on different talk shows. I'm like, okay, yeah. But granted,
well, we all have the same stories.
That is sadly true. I will say though, I do anytime I don't mind it if he busts out a Harrison Ford impersonation.
Well, speaking of the same stories, I have saved it to now. I met Quentin Tarantino at a water park once.
Wow. Okay.
Okay,
let's delve into this.
Let's delve into this. Well, okay, first off, what were you wearing?
I didn't actually speak to him. A bathing suit, also called the no-go zone.
Was it Typhoon Lagoon?
No, this was in Atlanta in 1996 when I was down there for the Olympics.
Oh, wow.
He and Bruce Willis were in line in front of me for a water slide.
They were in line?
Yeah. They waited in line.
Okay. Maybe a little less narcissistic than
I didn't interrupt. I was 16. I was trying to...
Oh, you didn't say anything?
No. I was 16. Yeah, 16 going on 17. So I think I just kissed a girl a few months.
Going on 17.
I just kissed a girl maybe a few months prior, so I was like, at this point, like,
didn't
that
have
was...
the swagger yet.
Yeah,
excuse me, Mr. Tarantino.
So it's like, we're good.
See, I would think, even though I know he's narcissistic, I would not fuck with Bruce Willis. I have no desire.
Wait, this was Bruce Willis. This would have been like
back when he was still acting. Not really.
I mean, this was I think right about 4 rooms. I want to say it would have been about the time.
That's decent,
96?
Bruce Willis, where he still kind of gave a shit about things.
Yeah, he was still like boxer shape.
I just also think of I thought Pulp Fiction, where he's remembering the watch. Christopher Walken had his watch up my ass, and I just went down a weird path.
One of the lifeguards told us that Garth Brooks was also at the water park that day, and my sister was like, "Let's go find him." I was like, "No, I'm going to get on the lazy river."
Pass.
Yeah, but she couldn't go without me. By herself anywhere because she's younger.
Who was it? One of our friends, Nikki Smith, posted. She's like, "What are things that you thought were bad when you were younger, or things you used to say, and now you feel it to be false?" And it's like, and Nikki's response was, "Garth Brooks isn't so bad." And I was just like, "Yeah, that's kind of truthful." Yeah. So anyway, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This happens all the time now. Anything else we want to add to the think about or throw out there?
It's one of those movies that I think the further out from it I get, the more I like it even.
Yeah.
And even actually, the further I get from the first act, the more I like it. During the first act, I was kind of like, I don't know how I feel about this movie. And then it all started coming together.
Well, it does. It kind of plods along. So there is plot, but it's almost like watching Seinfeld, where you're just like, what is the plot? What's the point of this?
Well, they set it up as, okay, it's a day in the life.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're just kind of... And I mean, things happen. I was never bored, but I've heard a lot of Tarantino fans, traditional Tarantino fans, saying that this was boring. They didn't like it. And I can see that because...
I don't agree with that. I mean,
I'm sure there are some Tarantino fans, and again, I'm not one, and I'm no expert, but I'm sure there are some that love him for the wacky violence. And so the fact that this was all saved for the very end, you are going to sit there for 2 hours saying, when is anything going to happen? I appreciated that about it, but...
I also think those are maybe Tarantino fans and not movie fans.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I just want to see some blood.
Not fans of story and structure.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think Yeah, because I feel like this is one of his most mature movies that he's made, which is nice.
It is his most conservative for sure.
Yeah, but I think it's needed too. Which is being that if you've seen other Tarantino films, dude doesn't have a lot of restraint. So it's nice.
But it is one of those things too that is something that, since I did do a complete Tarantino rewatch, because a lot of it I haven't seen some of those films for like 15 years.
Yeah,
and I was like, I kind of want to watch them all going up to this. Haven't seen so many of them since like high school or something.
By the way, did you finish them before seeing, or did you catch them all, most of them? Okay,
I watched them all in a row. Not in a row, but in
in
a chronological order.
Jesus.
And obviously, some rose in my esteem, some fell. But it's like kind of one of those things, like even like the hyper violence of like the scene from Mr. Blonde in Reservoir Dogs, where he cuts his ear off. It's like, it's funny how you don't realize how long of a take that is, and how long he actually draws it out. Yeah. Until you watch it. That is almost like a 4 to 5 minute one-shot take that sets up the entire thing. And then the camera never pulls away until the violence happened, and then you never see it. It's like one of those things where it's like, God, I remember this being more violent than it was at the time, and thinking like, whatever, but it's still very, very effective of seeing, not seeing the violence, which I actually prefer, as opposed to something like Midsommar, which
have you seen it?
No.
Yeah, I take it you're not a horror fan either.
Not really.
See, so this is the weird thing. If it's an action movie or like a vibe of an action movie, which Tarantino sometimes they feel like an action movie, I find to be more okay with it. But I mean, when he started bashing the one Manson girl in the head on the phone, I was like, and then moves her to the fireplace.
That's a lot.
And
the first phone hit was funny. But
it was funny for a second, and then
it was funny because the phone rang. That's just me. It was the sound effect of the phone ringing made me laugh.
Yeah, but I forgot that the phone rang.
Yeah.
I did too. Yeah,
because I was just more like,
Well, it was like the lot. Yeah, it was like. Not so much like a phone ringing, but the sound a phone makes on something like that.
When someone hits it or something.
Yeah.
Well, Gotcha.
That's the great thing. I think kids today don't know that.
They don't know.
If your phone is right, I'm going to use the microphone as an example. Like if you barely touch the side of it, it
gives a little chirp.
Yeah, make a little chirp. And you're just like, and sometimes, until you realize it's not fun to do it because you break the phone, you just start hitting it a little bit because you just want to hear the sounds. Like, well, wow, so there's another little bell in there or something that, I don't know. Well, especially because technology, it's all digital and... the phone rings. It's not a.
Have you seen someone did the video of like where they try to have kids make a phone on a dial phone?
Yes. There's a whole cadre of videos out, and sometimes they're entertaining, like, or they make you feel better about life, which was, for at least for me, as my geeky love was, they did. They show young people today cartoons of Animaniacs. Okay. And all of them were just like, this is a great show. When did this come out? They're like 1994. Like, oh my God, that's so old, but it's so good. And so that makes me feel better.
Ago, how were they funny?
But then every once in a while, you'll get them where they go, what's this? And it's like, is that a phone? I don't know. The only one where it's bearable is when they have the Stranger Things kids do it because they know they have to be entertaining. And then they're like, oh, I don't know what this is. Well, Millie, you're from England. Ha, 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 ha. And then they make fun of each other and they moved away from the phone. You're like, oh, thank God. I already feel horrible that you don't know what that is. Cassette tapes, I know, and it was one.
Yep. Oh, man. Kids nowadays who never get to give the girl a mixtape.
Thank you guys all for doing this. This was a lot of fun. Ella, thank you for doing the show. And Ella will be at our... I haven't really plugged a lot on here, but I really should. I'm on the show, and it's my show. Ella is helping me talk Gremlins.
Yeah.
August 17th at Mad Lab.
That'll be great. It's
going to be a lot of fun. And we have a special surprise sneak thing that we're not sneak peek for this, but like it's going to be a nice surprise, I should say, that people... I don't want to ruin the surprise, so I should probably just publicize it. But then people could be, then people would be kind of bummed.
You told me.
People would. Be
I think I did. Yeah, I did tell you.
And I keep.
I'll tell you too, Ella. Once we.
I keep I keep secrets.
So, all right. Well, again, thank you guys so much. It was so much fun.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
Have a good one.
Jeez! You're a creep! Go away! We're having a good time again! you soda cheapers! Go have some coffee with cream or something, because I'll tell you something. This is a happy place.